Hi, this is Kimmy. I'm going to show you how to brush and detangle and defrizz your wig. You can clearly see the knots and the tangles in the wig here. This is an issue with synthetic wigs. They get tangled really easily. Make sure the elastic size adjustment bands at the back are unhooked and invert the wig, as we will be working on the inner layers of the wig first. With the cap inverted, I put her on the blockhead like this. I will now use a detangler spray, which will lubricate the fibers so that they are easier to detangle. You will find that without it, detangling the hair and removing knots is much more difficult. Without detangler, the fibers are dry and rough, and you will need to use more force to detangle, which can cause damage to the fibers. I also secure the wig on the blockhead using a couple of T-pins. This way she does not slide off when I work on her. Spray some detangler on her. You can hold the bottle a foot or so away from the wig, so that the product is spread over a larger surface area. Now, this is the brush that I will use. Notice that it has plastic bristles and no pinheads. The plastic bristles are easier on the wig's fibers. How I personally try to detangle is by brushing in a more diagonal way, sometimes even horizontally. I found that when brushing straight down, I get stuck a lot more often, or even make the tangles worse. While with a more sideway motion, I pull the fibers out of the tangle much more easily. I slowed the video down a bit so you can see how things get detangled. This red arrow shows a big tangle, and look how easily I untangle it. Another big tangle here, and with a sideway pretty much horizontal brush, I pull the tangled hair strands apart. The detangler spray really helps too. Doing a downward motion and not using the spray, the brush would have gotten stuck on that tangle for sure. It is starting to get more and more detangled, but also look a bit messy. That's okay however, actually it will look even worse when I'm done detangling. But when we steam the wig, we will remove all that messiness and frizziness. Let's speed the video up a little bit, as it's more of the same. Basically what you do is work on one area, move to the next, and so on. When done, just go over them again and detangle some more as needed. We are now going to work on the outside, so straighten the wig and put her on the blockhead again. You will see all kinds of frizz and flyaways, but there are probably some knots and tangles there too that we could not reach when the wig was inverted. So pin her to the blockhead again, so she does not slip off, and we'll get working on the outside. Spray some detangler again. And now we start brushing the outside layers. Let's fast forward again. Now here I get into a situation where I cannot pull the brush any further. It gets stuck when brushing down. Instead of trying to force the brush through the tangle, I try to brush sideways again. Upon further inspection, I see that some fibers have tangled really badly and that they form a very tight knot, which I can clearly see. It looks like a small lump. How I deal with these is by spraying some extra detangler onto the knot, and then I try to grab the individual fibers leading to the knot using a single bristle of the brush. I then try to untangle the knot fiber by fiber, using my fingers as well to pull them out of the knot, again using sideways movements or even pulling them upwards. If it is impossible to untie the knot, it is okay to grab it right above the lump and gently try to pull it off and breaking the fiber in the process. Sometimes there's just no way around it. And besides, even brushing the wig you always lose some of the hairs anyways. Here I find another knot again, which I'm going to try and detangle. Notice how I'm even like pulling the hair upwards to untie it. Now I'm able to brush down again without the brush getting stuck in any knots. At this point the brushing is just me trying to see if there's any knots or tangles that I missed. Let's fast forward again, and apologies for the noise in the background. There was some construction going on in my neighborhood. Now that we're done detangling, you may notice that the wig is very fluffy and looking frizzy at the outer ends. All the brushing added a lot of volume and frizz to the wig, so we're going to need to fix this. For this step, we're going to use a hand steamer, the one that you use to remove wrinkles from your clothes. They are perfect for getting rid of frizz in wigs. The steam is 100 degrees Celsius, 212 Fahrenheit. All synthetic wigs are rated at a minimum of 100 degrees Celsius, with most of them even being rated at 150 to 170 degrees Celsius or 300 to 340 Fahrenheit. That is why using steam is always safe to use on a synthetic wig. You can use your brush to grab some strands of hair. You then point the steamer on it and pull the brush down. Repeat this a couple of times in the same spot, because what we're doing besides defrizzing is also separating the strands and fibers, giving it a more natural look again. Another brush that you can use, if you have one, is this brush that is like a tongue. They're called double-sided straightening brushes. This particular type I have also has holes, so you can blow dry or steam right onto the hair that is being brushed. You grab some strands of hair with the brush, and again, while pointing the steamer at the area you're working on, you gently pull the brush down. These brushes have very fine and soft bristles, so they will separate the fibers even more without being too harsh on the wig. When you brush a particular area more and more, you will notice it becomes easier and easier to pull the brush through the hair. worked our way all around now, and just look at how easy it is to brush her at this time. The brush just slides through the hair without any friction whatsoever. I am trying to get rid of the frizziness at the tips here, so I am using the double-sided straightening brush to defrizz those tips. I invert the wig again, and this time to work on the inner layers of her. I just do the same thing as I did on the outer layers, just grabbing some strands with the brush, pointing the steamer on it, and pulling the brush through the hair. You can now clearly see how the hair strands are separated, how all the tangles are gone, and you even see some shine in the hair again. A big difference from what she looked like when we started. Now it is time to style the wig. One thing you need to understand about synthetic fibers is that when warm, they can be shaped. When they cool down, they keep that shape. This is the basis for styling synthetic wigs. You can see a little bump here. If you brush all the way to the end, slightly pulling the hair, then they might spring up and curl a bit at the top. To get rid of those, just brush at the top and don't brush all the way down. Now with those little bumps fixed, it is time to style the wig. The way I will style it now is mainly to add a little bit of volume in the side part at the top, and also to keep the hair on the sides out of my face. That last bit is achieved by brushing some of the hair back, steaming it, letting it cool down, and it will have a tendency to stay that way for at least one wear. This means that the next time you want to wear her, you may want to steam it again. This might sound like a lot of work, but just think of it as brushing your hair before you go out. I take my brush and again point the steamer on the area that I want to style. I brush the hair backwards and move the steamer along the flow I want to create in the hair. I repeat this a couple of times to set all the hair strands that I want to style with the steam. In this particular case, I am also brushing the hair on the side into the hair in the back. I am done styling this side of the wig, and now I am going to work on her side. These hair strands here have a tendency to get in my face, so I'll pull them to the side, but I let them drop down on the side instead of pulling them back. I will also try to add a bit of volume on the top. I do this by sort of placing the hair strands in a way that they create a little bump there. As soon as everything is in place, I point the steamer on it to fix it all in place. Here's that little bump I created. Now that I'm happy with it, I point the steamer on it. Sometimes I see flyaways, loose hair sticking out sideways or upward. I get rid of those with the steamer as well. I personally just push those loose hairs into the wig with the steamer and setting them in place at the same time by blowing the steam onto it. Now I am done, and I'm quite satisfied with the result. Let me show you what it looks like now. You will notice that the hair is still wet, so what you need to do now is to let it cool down and dry. In this process, the hair fibers will continue to set so they stay in place better. When she is completely dry, after half an hour or so, she is ready to be worn again. I will also spray conditioner on the wig. Keep the bottle of conditioner about 30 centimeters, which is about a foot, away from the wig and spray it all over. This way the conditioner is evenly spread. The conditioner will make the wig silky soft again and adds a beautiful shine to her as well. Look at how supple the wig is again, and how the hair falls naturally, just like when she was newly bought. I will show you